Hello, church. I had a interesting thought process last night that I thought I would share with you. As many of you know, 5-year-olds are often very much into band-aids. Does anybody else have a 5-year-old or had a 5-year-old who really liked band-aids? And while band-aids aren't all that expensive, they're expensive enough that when we're going through a whole pack because we have a tiny little scratch, you start to get a little irritated, right? Well, last night, it was late and I just really needed my son to go to sleep. And so we get right there and he's laying down. We've read a book, we've snuggled, we've prayed, we've done all the things that we need to do. We're calm. He's laying down and I'm waiting for that moment for him to drift off so I can head out of the room and do some work that I really needed to finish up. And he all of a sudden just pops up and, oh, mom, I've got a sore on my leg. And he runs to the bathroom and he's getting out the little kit and the band-aids. You know, you get to that point where you're like, okay, seriously, you were just about to fall asleep. What sore do you have on your leg? And he was just kind of obsessing about it. Mom, look, it's right here. And mom, oh, I need a band-aid. And oh, mom. And I kind of I brushed it off completely. I said, there's nothing wrong with your leg. Climb back in bed. It's time to go to sleep. And oh, mom, my leg, my mom. Finally, I said, okay, let me see. Let me see the little scratch. And like he needed to find it. Like he spent time. Well, it's right here. Well, no, it's here. Well, no, it's here. And he finally finds the spot. And it's this tiny little red spot on the back of his knee. And my reaction, because my mood wasn't in the right place, right? My reaction was, that's nothing. Don't be silly. Go to sleep. And he looked at me with this look of like, what do you mean it's nothing? And he's kind of protecting it with his hand. And I realized, because I caught the look, I realized, you know what? It does matter to him. To me right now, it doesn't matter at all. It's a tiny little spot. It's not going to harm you. You don't need a band-aid. You need to go to sleep. To me, it made no difference. To him, it made all the difference in the world. And what he really just needed was me to acknowledge that and let him put a band-aid on, and maybe he would settle down and go to sleep, right? So it got me thinking, once he finally did go to sleep, how often do I brush off the call of Christ in my life or God working in me or in people around me? How often do I brush that off because my mind isn't in the right place or it doesn't feel important to me right now? Of course, it makes me think of Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. So what I'm thinking about heavily today, and what I challenge all of us to think about, is when those little things that might be God come into our lives, help with this project, or reach out to your neighbor, or do this. No matter how busy we are, what if we stop long enough to acknowledge that it might not be about what's going on with ourselves, and it might not be that that's what needs our attention, but that other thing that's calling for us? It might be God. It might be part of Christ asking us to take part in the risen life and the risen abundance that he has brought into our world. That's my challenge for this week, and I invite you to join me in thinking about the different ways that God is speaking to you and whether or not we are hearing that and allowing it our attention.